tonight here at the drive-in? Well, you guys are good, but for the rest of you, how's everybody doing today at the drive-in? Make some noise out here in the parking lot. Beep a few horns, you know? That's what we do here at the drive-in. There you go. You got the idea. So my name's Caswell Cook. I'm the executive director of the Musqueam Business Association, who puts on this drive-in movie here for the last, I think since 2000. Oh, there we go. Since like 2010, we've been doing this. And so we also are live streaming tonight on our Musqueam Beach Facebook page and the Musqueam Drive-In Facebook page and on our YouTube pages. So if you're watching us out there, we're sorry you're not here, but at least you'll get to see from afar. And we also want to say thank you to the DeLoreans who showed up tonight. Let's hear it for the DeLoreans. Thank you for coming down. All right, so tonight we're here to watch Back to the Future, and I'd like to ask, how many people here have seen Back to the Future? Make some noise. Is there anybody in the audience that this will be their first time seeing Back to the Future? Make some noise. Wow, all right.
Wow, there's a whole carload there in the second row.
That's nice. All right, good. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, one of the great things about the Musqueam Drive-In is that from time to time, we get to watch the movie with someone who was actually in the movie, which is pretty cool. So tonight, we're here. It's his third year back in Musqueam Beach, and we're very pleased to welcome, and would you please welcome, from the Back to the Future trilogy, actor JJ Cohen. Come on up.
I can't hear you.
JJ, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
It's good to have you. So we're here tonight to play Back to the Future, but before we...
Is this for me?
Yeah, take a seat.
Okay.
Before we play Back to the Future, let's have the audience get to know a little more about you than just Back to the Future.
I'm a Cancer. Oh, not that kind. Okay, go ahead.
He's single, ladies. So you were in many other things besides Back to the Future, so let's talk about some of those things. So what was the first movie that you were in?
The first non-union film I was in was a film called Paradise Motel. It was actually done by an adult film. Oh, I'm doing that thing, Mike. Sorry. It was actually done by an adult film company. I played Shooter Spinelli, but my first union film was a film called Secret Admirer with C. Thomas Howell and D. Wallace Stone. Anybody see that? No? Mom? Mom, did you see that? Okay. Well, anyway.
But they, at least some people here that are old enough know who the actor C. Thomas Howell is, right?
Tommy Howell? Yeah?
Tommy.
Okay. So anyway, he was... that was the first thing that I did. The second thing was a bunch of TV episodes. I was really fortunate to have a career with a lot of Hollywood's elite and Academy Award winners. For those of you who came up to my table, I kind of told this story, so bear with me. I did an episode of Amazing Stories. The pilot was with Kevin Costner, who actually played a pilot. I was the co-pilot. It was called The Mission. It was directed by Steven Spielberg, and so I got to work with 2 Academy Award winners at once. That was pretty awesome. I did a film called Almost Famous. Anybody see that? Oh, you like that one? Okay, great. So I played the roadie, the main roadie for the band Stillwater, and that was directed by Cameron Crowe, who directed Jerry Maguire, another Academy Award winner. I did a film called The Principal with Lou Gossett Jr., another Academy Award winner. And Jim Belushi. Did anybody see that movie? Yep. Oh, you did? All right. Well, I played the rapist in that. And
it's a great role.
Again. That was one of the things that I did. And then I sung lullabies. No, I didn't.
So let's go back to this rapist thing. I know that's, it's probably a hard role to play. It's probably a kind of a terrible role to play, but you have a story about when you... Tell us your story.
Okay. So I have some Jim Belushi stories, but those don't end well. And I don't want any more people here to not like me, so I'm going to go with the good story, the feel-good story. So the feel-good story is I was actually dating this girl, and we were engaged. And thank you.
We got some applause for
Thank you for marriage. Is that you, Gwen? Okay, it's over, honey. I'm just letting you know it's done. But we were at dinner, and I'm from Maryland, so the slogan is Maryland is for crabs. We do a lot of blue crabs there, with cayenne pepper and rock salt. And it's called Old Bay seasoning. Anyway, so we were at dinner, and she said, hey, JJ's an actor. He's got a new movie coming out, and it's called The Principal. And everybody was very, very enamored by, oh, wow, you're an actor? Yeah. And the next line was, I play the rapist. And it got very, very quiet at the table. And all I could think to say was, pass the shrimp. And so everybody started laughing after I said, pass the shrimp, after we found out I was the rapist. And they broke up shortly after that. Thanks, Caswell, for making me relive that.
Well, at least you got the Old Bay season.
I did get the Old
We do have that here in Rhode Island as well, but we're more known for lobsters and steaks, stuff like that.
Good stuff.
So now, where were you when you sort of found out about this script called Back to the Future, and how did you come to audition for it?
Well, I was actually on the set of Secret Admirer.
I'm going to do the live. We're going to hold it. Yeah, there we go.
I was actually on the set of Secret Admirer, and Tommy Howell was up for the role of Marty McFly, for those that don't know. And he came on and he was like, oh man, I just read the script. It's the best script I've ever read. And little did I know, 3 weeks later, I would actually be the first choice for Biff for about 6 weeks before they changed and went in a different direction. And that's your cue to give me the lead in for that. I'm going to tell that story.
So yeah, so you were the first choice for Biff, and I understand that because of things like your height and different things that happened with the different actors that were chosen to play Marty.
Yes.
You ended up getting bumped off of that and became Skinhead.
That's right. So I was the first choice for Biff for about 5 weeks. I went back like 5 times to audition for this part. And Chris, do we have Crispin Glover fans here? Anyone? Yeah. So I'm going to tell you my personal experience with Crispin. It was a fantastic one. He gets a bum rap for all the gossip and stuff. Gossip can be deadly in any form, but certainly in the entertainment industry, it becomes public, and that's never good. But he was nothing but a very, very giving person to me, and so I'm going to go to bat for him right now. One of the things he did, it's very, very competitive in Hollywood, especially when you're young, and, when you're auditioning, it's unheard of to do what he did, which is he came up to me. I was getting ready. I was looking over the scene, and he said, hey, do you want to go over the sides, before we go in there? And nobody ever does that. So I said, yeah, let's do it. So we went over the sides, and the scene we auditioned for was the scene in the cafe where we say, hey, McFly, you got my homework? And it says that Biff slaps him in the head. Well, I didn't slap him in the head. I slapped his face. And they started laughing, the producer and the director, everybody I was auditioning for. So that inspired me to keep slapping him. So I kept slapping him maybe about 20 times in this scene, much more than you see in the actual movie. And by the time we were done the first, his face was all red. And they said, after we were done, let's do it one more time. So we did it one more time and the same thing. And by the time we were done, this is what a trooper he was. His face was like red and pulpy. And I said, man, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? He's like, nah, that was great, man. Let's do it one more time, because he just wanted to keep going. He loves acting, as did I back then. So anyway, he was great. What was the original question?
Who were the other actors, and how did you get from Biff to Skinhead?
Oh, okay. So anyway, after we had read this, and I was the first guy, they wanted Michael J. Fox originally. Michael J. Fox was doing a TV show called Family Ties. How many people remember that? Okay, so the producers of that show would not let him out of the contract. So they kept looking. They found Eric Stoltz. Eric and I are the same height. As a result of this, I was out of the picture. There was another actor that also didn't get the role at this time because they said he looked too old. Does anybody know who that is? Tim Robbins. Wow, a collective wow from the group. Yeah, so I didn't feel so bad. But we went on, they offered me a smaller role, I took it. They found Tom Wilson to play Biff. We shot for about a month and a half. They realized Eric wasn't right for the role. They fired him, replaced him with Michael, worked out a deal, and the rest is history. But on the DVD commentary, Bob Gale, who wrote and produced it, says, had Michael been cast originally, JJ would have been Biff. So there's that. I'm also only one of 6 people in all 3 Back to the Future films.
Now, that's another question then. So when you guys did Back to the Future 1, was there a plan always to do a trilogy, or did it come about after?
No, it definitely came about after, and then what they decided to do was to shoot them back to back, because a lot of us went off to go do other films. That's when I went off to go to Canada, and I shot Fire with second male lead Paramount Pictures. I went off and did The Principal with Jim Belushi and Lou Gossett, what I mentioned earlier. So we had like maybe a 2 or 3 year break. It came out in 85, right? And I believe it was 1980 when we shot those. Whoops, misbehaving. Went back those. We shot them back to back. So we shot them in about a year. But they knew then they were going to shoot them back to back. So the way it was scheduled, the way it was, planned and filmed, they knew we were going to do it then back to back.
What was it like, working with Michael J. Fox? I mean, I think everybody here, we know him through our whole lives, from not just Back to the Future, but from all the things he's done. But what's he like as a person? I mean, you must have had at least an opportunity to have some time off the set that when you weren't, acting.
Yeah, we actually, my favorite story with Michael is that he was a very generous, giving guy. He always liked to joke around, and we went, and I remember we were sitting on the corner, the curb outside of Lou's Cafe one day when we were filming, and he saw the tram go by. We were at Universal Studios, and there's the Universal tram for the tour. And so he goes, JJ, grab a bag of candy and follow me. So we ran past the craft service table. He grabbed a bag of candy. I grabbed a bag of candy. And then when the tram saw us coming at them head on, the tram stopped, and we just went and handed out candy to everybody that was on the tram, and they just got a kick out of it, and, they thought it was really cool. So he was very giving and fun.
Now, you have a very famous scene in this movie, and from it has come 30-something years of being able to, well, not for 30-something years, but in the recent years, you've started doing Comic-Cons and Chiller and some of these places where you sign autographs. Have people been to Comic-Con before or any of those type of things? Yep. So how did, who invented that? And how did you get involved in that, where people come seeking autographs and, fans dress up from the movies? When did that start happening?
So what happened, if you don't know my story, basically I had this 20-year career as an actor. And then in 2000, things took a turn for the worse. I worked with all these, Oscar winners and Hollywood's elite. And then in 2000, the stock market crash totally wrecked me. I was bankrupt, homeless, foreclosure. Got down about as far as you could go. And then, and I like to say, don't start crying. If you start crying, I'll start crying. It'll be a mess. But 2 years later, it's a happy ending, don't worry. 2 years later, I licked my wounds. I got back on my feet. I borrowed $30,000, and I turned it into $600,000 in 3 years in real estate investment. And I retired at 42. I'm now 57. When I was doing that, thank you for the applause there, appreciate it. When I was in the middle of doing that in 2005, so I ran my firm from 2002 to 2007, and when I was doing that, do you want to sit?
No.
Okay. When I was doing that, they asked me to do these cons, and my attitude was kind of cavalier at first, because I thought, well, that was 20 years ago. I don't need to do any of that, Plus, I was now doing my own thing and doing really well in real estate. So my mom got sick in 2008. And so I had 4 sisters, none of them were stepping up. And so I decided the doctors were giving her 1 to 2 years to live. So I thought, well, I'll do this, it's a couple of years. I had the time, I had the money. I had just gone through a divorce. So again, I had even more time and even more money. And in 2010, I did my first con. And it was a celebrity poker tournament. I did maybe 2 or 3 events. I did Collector Mania, and that was it. Because my mom got really sick, and so I couldn't do cons or any appearances for about 8, 9 years. She passed in 2016. In 2019, I was approached again and said, hey, do you want to go, do these cons? And I said, man, I don't really think anybody cares. And what happened was, the guy said, well, I beg to differ. Things have changed since you were doing cons, years ago. So I said, okay, let's see what we can do. So I went to the first con, and the first con that I went to, it was June 2019. Cobra Kai was the fascination, but it was just starting. Billy's, it's okay. It's okay, Mike.
Ralph Macchio is here next week.
Billy Zabka and Martin Cove from Cobra Kai were at the table behind me, and no one was there. They were all in my line. And I was blown away. I mean, I was like, nobody's going to come. And then when I saw this, so I was thrilled, to say the least, and completely humbled. And so in 2019, I did 3 cons. In 2020, I actually had 21 cons booked. And if you don't know, it's pretty impressive. The main headliners only do like 6 to 12, maybe 15 cons a year. So the fact that I had 21, that I was in this kind of demand, was really cool. It was cool and humbling and exciting. Of course, they all got canceled because of COVID. And then in 2020, actually, I think is when we met. That's when I was brought in here, and we got the idea to do smaller venues. So we started doing this dork tour last year. I went to 19 comic book and toy stores in 25 days. I was totally wiped out. I don't know what made me think I could do this, but this year, I said, let's do 75. So we did 75 comic book and toy stores this year, and 15 comic and horror cons. And so the cons are back. So that's great. So next year should be nice and full.
Now we want to just do a little something. I need a volunteer from the audience who wants to play Marty McFly. Anybody? Yeah, come on.
Hey, Ashlyn!
Come on up. Give her a nice round of applause. She's our Marty McFly tonight. All right, JJ, we're gonna give her the chair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going.
So you're sitting at the bar and you say, "Can I have a tab?" And he says, "You can't have a tab unless you order something." All that. And then in comes Biff and the gang. Can I be Biff?
Sure.
And he says, like, "What are you looking at, butthead?" Right? Now, what does Biff say before your line?
Anyone?
It's
been a long time. Anybody remember what happened?
No. Well, anyway. Okay. And then he's got the thing that looks like a life preserver, and then you say,
"Hey, Biff, get a load of this guy's life preserver. Dork thinks he's going to drown."
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, give him a nice round of applause.
20 years of acting school. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marty.
Marty, Ashlyn, that's the lovely Ashlyn. This is the daughter, by the way, of one of the DeLorean owners, Mike. Great Mike. He runs the DeLorean Motor Club.
That's true. Now, before we show the movie, because it is time to show the movie, I wanted to ask
you. Did your arm show you that?
What's that?
Did your arm tell you it was time?
Well, it's like Chevy Chase. He doesn't actually have a watch, but he says, "I got to go. I got a thing." Anyway, you got that. Caddyshack. Any Caddyshack fans here, by the way?
That'll be showing next week, guys.
Where were you 2 weeks ago when we showed the movie? So one of the things is that's got to be pretty strange or interesting, or you said the word humbling. I mean, this movie was from 1985. There's got to be no way in 1985 that you would think in the year 2022 people would still be coming to see this on the big screen.
Unless you had a time machine.
Unless you had a time machine. Well, but we're actually past the years that they came to the future.
That's true.
But how does it make you feel that this movie, and you had a part in this, that has lived on, and there's people that are here that were not even alive when this movie was made?
Well, I think you said it, repeating what I said. I'm not only incredibly grateful for it, but I'm tremendously humbled by it. A lot of people, I see wide range of ages here. So people my age, right, told their kids, and older, told their kids about it. They told their kids about it. And so a whole new generation is hip to it. So it's hip to be square. That's another Huey Lewis thing, right? But this is what makes this movie special, because it is timeless. And as long as you guys keep telling people about it and your kids, then it'll remain timeless. It's a great movie with great morals and great ideas. So it's really about love, if you think about it.
Before I have you introduce this movie, has there ever been a discussion about a reboot of this movie, or
no?
Never? Is it just leave it alone?
Never a real one. No. I mean, there's rumors on the internet all the time, but there will be no fourth.
There you go.
How can you with Michael,
Yeah. What? So we're going to watch this movie now on the big screen. Will you do us the favor? Yeah, there you are on the big screen.
I finally made it back.
will you do us a favor, please, at this time and introduce Back to the Future to this audience?
So this movie changed my life in many, many ways, and here we are 37 years later, still celebrating it. It's still affecting my life. I'm really proud to be a part of this film, and I'm glad it's affecting your lives as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Back to the Future.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for JJ Cohen. And enjoy the movie. We're going to turn off the lights. Give us a second, and we'll play the movie.
Hey everybody, it's Avery Movie with some do's and don'ts when you come visit the Mesquamaket Drive-In Movie Theater. Do buy your tickets online. Don't bring cash. Do pull up to the stop sign for assistance. Don't park yourself. Do throw your trash in the waste receptacles. Don't be a litter bug. Do turn your lights off. Don't be inconsiderate. Do talk quietly during the movie. Don't yell! Do come to our concession stand to get some delicious goodies. Don't order delivery. Do buy our sick merch so you can look just like me. Don't commit identity theft. It's a serious crime. And remember, do have fun when you come to visit the Mesquamaket Drive-In Movie Theater.